Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to For Those Who Think a Lot About the Future, Acharya with IIT Patna. So, for me, for those who think a lot about the future, I'm going to make a kind of a simple answer. There's nothing wrong with doing whatever, thinking, doing whatever it may be. It only becomes a problem if it becomes a problem. So what I mean by that is that I think about the future a lot, but it doesn't bother me at all. I think of all the possibilities, and I try to structure my present way to guide myself into the future. But if it doesn't turn out that way, it's like, oh well, so I should have done better. That's the thing for me, is that you can think about a lot of things. The main thing is don't let it affect you. I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's so easy, anyone can do that. No, but it's true though. And I don't know, this is something that I've always done, honestly. So maybe I just gotten used to it. And this is the biggest struggle I have to kind of convey how to do it. So for me, I've thought about the future to a point where I just understand that it's not always going to work out, but I can try my best to direct my life in that direction. And if it doesn't turn out, then it doesn't turn out. That's about the simplest I could put it. It's not for everyone, but it works for me, for the most part. I keep overthinking about my experiences, my future. How do I tackle this? Again, not a problem unless it's really bothering you. Then at that point, understands. The best thing I can start off with is just understand your experiences and understand your future. Future is, you cannot really predict it, but you can kind of guide your life in that direction. Understanding to me is the biggest thing.
Whenever you are thinking, it is with respect to something that may happen in future or something that you need to do in future. And then there are various options, various possibilities. Some of those possibilities appear gainful to you, some appear harmful. Why not simply do what needs to be done right now? First of all, that will take away the needlessly vacant mind space. You will not be left with that much opportunity
To think?
to worry. And secondly, when you indulge in action, many of the alternatives that you were able to imagine about the future, those alternatives just disappear. The worst thing is to postpone action and keep worrying.
And he said it wonderfully there about how I told you how you can plan for the future by doing things that you need to do now to guide it in that direction. It's to do it in the now, absolutely. Do what needs to be done to ensure that your future goes in that general direction. General direction. But life is unexpected. Expect the unexpected. And if it goes your way, that's fantastic. You work hard to get there. But he's right, yeah, do not postpone, Makes you not worrying. I mean, yeah, for me about the worrying portion, it's kind of like what Sadhguru said about you're worrying about things that hasn't happened yet. You're worrying about things that are your imagination, because the future will never happen. It's only ever now. That's really weird to say that, but no, you can guide your life in the general direction of the future, but you shouldn't be worrying about the things that haven't happened yet. But make sure that you can guide yourself in the right direction to ensure that it goes in the right direction and not the wrong one. That's a difficult statement to say there, because obviously the future will never ever happen. And what I mean by that is that only ever the future. The future will never be the present because it'll always be in the future. You can kind of guide it in that direction. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, again, I like listening to the people here say these things because it allows me to structure my sentence and express kind of the ideas that I have as well. But you get the idea that I had too. It's about guiding your future with actions that you take now.
Or keep thinking.
Yeah,
Overthinking, as you said.
I do.
Right? So whenever you find yourself in that mode, the best thing is to ask yourself, isn't there something that I need to be rather doing at this moment? Not thinking, doing. Shouldn't my energy be rather flowing into some right and constructive action at this moment? And once your energy starts flowing in that direction, there is less and less space, energy, and opportunity available to needlessly worry.
I guess another way of putting that, actually, it's not a bad, is to have a list of how you want things to play out. Okay, I guess example, I want to go to college. Well, I need to get a job. So let me find a job. Then let me work on a job. Let me earn the money. Now I got bills. And I still want to go to college. Bring out your little book, do some math to see, okay, this is how much my bills are, this is how much I got free money to spend, this is how much I need to save to go to college. Kind of plan. I guess this is kind of similar to planning things out.
See, thought obviously is very useful. One needs to have the faculty to think. But thinking must conclude in understanding and action.
Push understanding.
Action includes the option to not act at all.
Ooh.
In the light of understanding.
Yes.
In the light of understanding, you may decide to act, you may decide not to act. So thought is not an end in itself. Thought is a means. You want thought to end. You use thought so that it comes to a conclusion. Now, if you're not letting thought result in something, instead thought has become a self-serving inner mechanism, then thought is of no use. So do think, but ask yourself, what is emerging out of my thinking? Is my thinking really leading to understanding or action, or is thinking just leading to more thinking?
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, does your thinking serve a purpose, or is it just flying through a whole bunch of thoughts? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? Don't get me wrong, it's great. It's great to have multiple options, multiple paths to take, but you have to decide which path you take and stick with it, because your mind may say, well, this one could be easier, or what about this one over? What about this one over here? Maybe this one, or how about this one? The mind will stray and make you second guess your choice, but think things through. Like I said, understand the choices that your mind brings up. Find out what the best one is. Choose it and stick with it. Follow that path to the future. To make the future the present.
And if you find that thinking is leading to more thinking, then you need to start acting. Have you noticed this? That when you act and you put everything that you have in the action that appears right to you, then there is not much space left to wonder or despair, right? So I'm not saying that one must indulge in action without thought, right? I'm not saying that one needs to become mindless or thoughtless, What I'm saying is that one needs to know the proper place of thought and action. We think so that we understand, don't we? If you are, for example, working on a mathematics equation, why do you follow all the steps? Let's say solving the equation involves some 14 steps. You follow the 14 steps so that after the 14th one, you come to something, right? What if the way you are proceeding with the equation involves an endless number of steps that lead to nothing? And worse still, they are iterative in nature.
It sounds like what it's saying there is indecisiveness of a person, where a person cannot say this is the end, there must be more to do. You follow those 14 steps, but then you go back to the 6 steps. Did I do this right? You go through all the steps again, and go back and again, and go back again, thinking that you're done, but you keep second guessing yourself. So this, while it's good to double check your work, but it becomes self-defeating if you're constantly second guessing yourself, and then maybe even doing something else to get to that same step, and doing another thing to get that same step, or to the point where you're like, is there more to do? Should I have done this? Should I have done that?
As if there is a circular motion going on. The same steps in some form or the other are getting repeated one after the other. We don't want that to happen. So when you see that now thought or the process of thinking has entered that phase where it has become cyclic or iterative, that's when you need to say enough of thinking, because now thinking is not yielding me anything. Now thinking has just become
A burden.
circular or cyclic or iterative. Now I need to do something. Enough of thinking. So there is space for thought, there is space for action, and one needs to be attentive towards both of these.
Another issue that I generally face is that in the morning when I get up, I generally have a to-do list made. कि हाँ, आज मुझे ये चीजें करनी है. So when that list becomes too long, I kind of messes with my mind and I stop doing things, and rather than that, I end up procrastinating, as you mentioned. So that's what happens with me. Like मुझे लगता है कि अगर मैं planning नहीं करूँगी चीजें की, तो फिर I end up doing something random. But when I sit to plan out things, I end up wasting too much time just planning and thinking, and instead of actually doing what I'm supposed to do. So is there any way that I can stop myself from indulging in this?
That is a tough one. Everyone is going to be a little bit different. What you could do is, when you create that list, find out what are the most important things to do on that list and do them. One of my coworkers said that whenever he has to clean the house, what he does, he plays the video games. Then when he gets to a certain point, he stops and goes clean something. Then when he gets done cleaning, he comes back, plays video games. Then when he gets to a certain point, he stops and goes clean another thing. Just slow progression on both, but he's still getting things done. Now, again, with her list, if they're not super important or super time constraint, that's what you could do. Before lunch, let me just do one thing. Let me go wash my clothes. After washing the clothes, go have lunch. Okay, after lunch, let's do studying. Go do studying for a little bit. For the studying, about like maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Go outside, just take a deep breath and just enjoy nature. Come back and do some more studying, depending on how you break it up. And then, after studying, let's eat dinner. And then after dinner, let's do stretches or yoga or whatever it may be before going to bed. Kind of plan things out. Obviously, you want to prioritize things that are very important, that has a time schedule, and kind of break things down throughout the day. It's tough to do. If you can make it a habit, it becomes much easier. Something you do in a schedule. But it's always tough to get into it. I'd advise her to get someone who's very good at planning stuff to teach her how to plan things. But I can give basic, no, not guidance, but basic understanding of things perhaps that hopefully can help. Maybe just a little bit of knowledge can, go a long way. But if you're really, really bad at procrastinating, then you may need a professional. Yes, people who can plan things out and teach you how to get into those habits.
See, listing must necessarily involve prioritizing as well.
Mm.
You cannot list down 22 tasks without assigning them a priority level. And 22 is a small number. Think of someone who might have 200 things to take care of. If you just list down 200 things without knowing which one is more important or valuable or urgent, then you simply get overwhelmed. 200 is a large number.
Ooh,
right?
jeez.
So when you make such a list, also segment the list.
Yeah.
A, B, C, D. A is the most urgent or the critical section, then B, then C, then D, and even within A, let's say if there are 4 or 5 items, then you need to accord them priority, right? You need to have something within that knows how to value rightly. So give them values.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay. So yeah, actually not a bad idea. Again, yeah, the segmentation part. Find out what you need to do today. Then find out, when can you schedule these things? Because there could be a lot of top priority stuff, but some are not time critical. Maybe you got 1 week to do something, and even then, maybe you have an exam or an essay that you have to write. What you could do is you can't procrastinate this stuff though, but make sure that you write segments of it. I mean, you want to complete it all in one, but sometimes sticking to the books, you really get tired. But say you need a 10-page essay and you have 10 days to do it, you may want to just start doing 2 pages a day. That way you're not so overwhelmed to do it all in one day. 2 pages every day, you'll be done in 5 days, and you'll have 5 more days to kind of go over it and make sure everything's good. But yeah, I mean, interesting about segmentation, and of course prioritizing what is very important that needs to be done. Again, basic little things like this could help someone who just needs a little bit of an understanding of what needs to be done. It's really weird to see like very smart people, like very good in science, have very, I won't say low common sense, but like it seems to be they're lacking. Like they're just so smart, like dumb stuff they don't know how to do because they're just so smart in everything else. It amazing. Not everyone's like that. It's really amazing though. Like when you see people like that, it's like. But anyways, so that's my reaction for those who think a lot about the future. I just think a lot in general, including the future. But the big thing, don't let it get to you. I mean, I can say that because that's what I kind of do myself. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.